I'll read off this first question here. It's more of a general question. It says, how did you decide it was worthwhile to do contracting, and why did you do it? So, Ed, what are your thoughts there?
No, that was one of the ones where I was hoping somebody else would go first, but
It was
thoughts first on this one.
Yeah, go ahead, Sergey.
It was easy for me because my day job wasn't as exciting as I would hope. So contracting was for me a very reasonable choice.
Yeah, it seems like go ahead.
I'll hold that question. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in. You know, the reason why you might want to take a consulting project, you know, often financial plays a key role in that. But sometimes somebody comes along with a project that is just so exciting and interesting that to pass on it, you would feel like you're going to kick yourself the next day when you see it out there and you weren't able to be part of that app development. I'm very, very selective on which apps I'll work on, and I pass on many that I would love to work on just because of time constraints. But when I do take one on, it's usually because the project excites me more than necessarily financial rewards on it.
And I'd like to throw in on an extra bit on that is that if you do have a day job, sometimes taking on a side project to gain new skills can actually advance you in your main position.
Yes.
Ed?
Okay, so I heard interesting responses there. One thing that struck me when you guys responded was to talk about day jobs. First of all, I'd like to say that people who are thinking about quitting the day job to do contracting, not to disagree with Sergey because I didn't get to ask the question I was going to, but if you've got a solid day job that you've been doing for a while, you're making good money, you've got a past somewhere, it's not like a sketchy, maybe not going to be there tomorrow job. I'm talking about a job that you are mediocrely happy with, capable of doing and getting paid well to do. Don't give that up. In other words, Jeff Tennell a long time ago told me, he said, don't quit the day job. That was his 5-second advice, right? Don't quit your day job. However,
I could add, don't quit day job for now.
Yeah. Definitely don't. It's because it's very risky. It can be risky. I mean, it's hard to make money in contracting because there is competition. We're out there. We're out here doing it, so you're competing with us right off the bat. But I mean, it's hard, as you'll hear in the rest of this discussion.
Yeah. But I do agree with Sergey. Well, you know, once you reach a point where where it flips, you know, where your contracting work takes so much time that you can't manage both, then you have to make a decision. But there's certainly nothing wrong with someone having a side project. I think that, you know, it's beneficial in a lot of ways, like Brian was saying, and not only just financially, but just, you know, enriching your skills and like Sergey was talking, you know, about being something that, you know, maybe provides you with some personal enjoyment.
Well, and I want to point out, Charles, you've said this many, many times, and I'm not sure who you're quoting, but you need to also look at your day job. That is a contract.
Yeah. Brian Tracy does a lot of business development type materials. He's been around for a long time, and he says that you're the president of your own personal services corporation, whether you have a day job or not. And it just so happens that the W-2 position that you go to every day just happens to be your biggest client at the moment. They are but they are a client because at any point in consulting, a client can cut you loose. They ran out of money. They don't no longer want to continue the project. Whatever.
By a bus.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, so some clients just disappear. They just don't respond anymore.
That was one of the questions.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to question number 2. What do you consider a short versus a long contract?
Okay.
Short is anything below 1 month's duration.
Yeah.
If it's longer 1 month, it's long term.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I also agree. Actually, I have a slightly different answer. 1 month, but also number of hours.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be working on it for more than a month, regardless of the hours, it's long. But if I work more than 80 hours in a month, it becomes long.
Yes.
That's half time. That may seem funny to some people, but half time is more than half time. It always adds up to more.
Right.
Well, Greg Pugh, who's from gpanimations.com, who's not with us today, he was sending his answers, and he says, I'd say a short contract is one project, and a long contract is a series of projects. So he's kind of not necessarily breaking it down into the number of hours, but the number of the units themselves. And but I would have to agree with Ed in that if it's if it takes you 6 months to do, it doesn't matter to me that it's one project. That's a long project, 6 months, because that's 6 months that I have to think about it, and then I can't, not necessarily I can't have more than one project at a time, but that's it's taking up your time.
Right.
So.
I differentiate projects durations because a longer project tends to have factors that will affect your happiness, your risk, a lot of other things. Short projects are generally safer, and but there's definite benefits to long projects.
So that leads into the next question: is do you prefer short or long contracts, and why? And it sounds like you prefer maybe shorter ones.
I generally prefer shorter ones.
Shorter ones are funnier. You don't get bored of the project fast, so it's just you make it, you're done, and you're happy with the result. But long-term projects might be something very exciting but you have to work very long for it. And I disagree that short projects are safer. If we are talking about the payment and getting the constant payment, long-term projects are safer because you get a constant payment. Like for me, I have a constant rate, and how many hours I work, that many hours I get paid for. And if I have a constant project to work on, I have constant payment.
That's a good point. Yeah. I do like projects that I can turn over fairly quickly. Because of what Sergey's saying, financially it just makes sense, and I also do get bored on a project. So if a project is a long project and it has multiple pieces to it, and those pieces move along fairly quickly, the client is responsive, we can get things in place, the plan is kind of unfolding at a good clip, I can stay engaged and interested, and the project is pleasant. If it's something like I've got a project right now with a client, it's not even a project. It's just a sort of a side little to do. We've been going around and around on a design for like 6 months. The design, and I'm like, I got to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I don't even want to do this anymore. It's become very monotonous, and it still pays, but as an individual, I'm bored. I'm done. I'm let's move on.
Yeah, I've worked on projects where the design took longer than the project was supposed to.
Yeah. In which is we're going to get into money here in a little bit, and we need to talk about what do you do when a project goes long and longer than you expected. So we'll get to that in a minute.
I'd like to add something to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, I agree with Sergey. When I said safer, I didn't mean about money. Longer projects are safer in the sense that you may not be out of a job for a while. But what I was leading to there is that longer contracts, one of the things that I find, and we'll discuss this as we get further down, is that in my experience, the longer the contract goes on, the more the client will start to depend upon you for more than just development work. I think it's just a natural progression. Shorter projects are easier to define, so the client has had a chance to sort of like say, this is everything I want, here it is, go do it. But longer projects typically go, I kind of know what I want. As things go along, you may get drawn more into the design sort of responsibility and less developer. And so that's where the danger was that I was trying to mention there.
What do you guys think about breaking a big project down into a series of smaller projects? You ever done that before?
I'm not sure that's possible. You can have different roles in your project, like one doing graphics, one doing like level design, and one doing something different, like user interface, but breaking it into small projects, no. You can break it into milestones, but
Yeah.
that's it.